January has come to a close, which means it's time to do our very first pickups video of the new year. Let's get into it. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and that is right. It is time for the first pickups video of the new year. Now, if you missed it last Sunday, I did a game room office tour video, so definitely go check out that. And with that, of course, I was moving, so very weird month for me. You know, I didn't really play a lot of games. I thought I would be able to get more game time in this month. That definitely did not happen. I've actually only beaten, I think, 2 things this year so far, and they're shorter games, so I definitely need to up my game there. And I also just didn't buy that much, at least in terms of what I normally do, in terms of how crazy I really go with the whole game collecting here. So a lot of the stuff I bought like in December and it came later. A lot of this stuff was also imported from Japan when we get to the 3DS stuff, so keep that in mind as well. So not much actual spending in January. Now, I do have a couple of new releases here. In fact, I have 2, literally a couple, because most of the big games that came out in January this year were only on PS5 and Series X, and I have pretty much enforced a strict no PS5 or Series X buying rule if the game is full price, because the games just plummet in value almost instantly, and sometimes if I buy it, you know, I don't get to it immediately. With our first game here, we'll go through the Switch stuff first. I bought Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown on the Nintendo Switch after the incredible reviews. This is a game that was on my radar. You know, I'm a huge fan of Metroidvanias, and Metroid Dread is one of my favorite Switch games, so it was on my radar for sure, but I wasn't sure if I was going to get it or not. And frankly, under normal circumstances, I would buy a multi-plat like this on PS5. The Switch version of this game actually does run really well. I think it's 1080-60 because they targeted Switch as their primary platform and then ported it up to the PS5 and Series X, where I think it's 4K 120. So really impressive performance there. But yeah, I wanted to buy this game for full price and support it because apparently it didn't do very well. And I can't do it. I can't be paying full price for a PS5 game when I know the value will plummet. Maybe this is a bad example in general because Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a Ubisoft game, and even on Switch, Ubisoft games typically go down in value, but I feel better about buying it on Switch than PS5 where I know the value is going to plummet. Switch, at least there's a chance that this retains something. Not that I'm planning on selling it, mind you, but if I did buy it and didn't get to it or something for some reason, I feel less bad about having a new Switch game in my collection versus PS5, which is something I'm not really focused on collecting for. So yeah, Tekken 8, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, I'm not buying those, at least not for full price on PS5. I really have no interest. Infinite Wealth really looks good, but I've only unfortunately gotten through Kwami 1 as well as 0, of course, so I have quite a ways to go to get to Infinite Wealth, but I do really want to play that game, and hey, maybe they'll come to the next Nintendo platform. But yeah, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, very good game, highly recommend it if you enjoyed Metroidvanias. I'm only like 2 or 3 hours in, but so far, it is definitely living up to the hype. The other new game I got this month was our first Nintendo published release of 2024, and that is Another Code Recollection. This is a remake of the DS game Trace Memory, as well as a remake of the Wii game Another Code R, which only released in Japan and Europe. I mentioned in the last pickups video, I had bought Trace Memory on the DS and played through it, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I played through this remake, I played through both games, and I'm kind of conflicted. Like, it's a really high quality remake. Like, they really went above and beyond in a lot of aspects, like the voice acting and the environments and just actually expanding the world a little bit. But I feel like a visual novel, maybe this is just me, and maybe I'm being weird here, a visual novel like this feels more at place on the DS. I haven't really played that many visual novels on Switch, I'll admit, and I don't know. I feel like Trace Memory on the DS flowed a little bit better. I think the game looks great on Switch, but I kind of prefer the original version on DS. I know that might sound crazy, but even with all of the modern affordances that this remake has, I don't know. Maybe it's because I played that first, so I kind of like, I knew it was happening, so playing through it again on Switch was just like oh, well, here we go again. But yeah, I totally recommend it if you enjoy story-based games, if you haven't played the original and it looks interesting to you. There is a free demo you can try, so if you're on the fence, go try out that, and yeah, maybe you'll like it. Here's my Switch stack for the month, by the way. If you're used to these videos, you know I normally go way crazier than this, so I just want to show you, like, I didn't really buy that much this month, at least in comparison to what I normally get. Video Games Plus had a reprint of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus up. My sticker came completely ripped up there. I don't really care. Copy still sealed. I've always wanted to play this game. It's one of those things, though, like, I know what happens, or at least I have a general idea of what happens, so whenever I load it up, I'm just like, okay, well, when's that gonna happen? So it's something I need to sit down and really commit to at some point, but it is a game I've always been interested in playing. I think I actually have it on PS5, so I'll probably sell that copy now that I have the Switch version. Amazon had this one on sale for, I think, $20 through their Woot service. Woot is like this extra thing that they have. I'm not really sure how it works, but Warhammer 40k bolt gun. I have no knowledge of the Warhammer 40k series. Like, if there's one multimedia franchise that I just know absolutely nothing about, it's Warhammer. Anytime I watch like the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest, I feel like there's always like 4 Warhammer games announced, and I'm just like, why are there so many Warhammer games? But this one I actually thought looked really interesting, and I played a couple hours of it. It's pretty good. It's a boomer shooter, so if you like classic Doom, that is what this is. And I mean, I haven't finished it yet, but it feels really good, and I like the visuals. And I don't know, maybe it's like a maybe I'm just dumb, but I feel like I get lost in this game a lot. You can kind of follow these like cult little signs, but I feel like I'm getting lost a lot in this game when that probably shouldn't be happening. I'm not sure, but either way, the gunplay feels good, the movement feels really good, and you know, you get your shotgun eventually there, all your different types of weapons as you would expect from a Doom type game. And I love Doom Eternal, one of my favorite games of all time for sure. So yeah, definitely was happy to pick up this. I think, like I said, I think it was like $20, so definitely a good deal there. All right, these next two I picked up because Limited Run was doing like an end of year sale, and I'll admit, this first one I will probably never play. I really have no intention of playing it. It was a total FOMO buy. So earlier last year in 2023, Limited Run Games published and released this Bill and Ted collection on Switch, which is a collection of, I believe, an NES game and a Game Boy game. And, you know, I have no nostalgia for Bill and Ted. It was a little bit before my time, and I never watched them growing up or anything. But they published this physical Bill and Ted's Excellent Retro Collection on the Switch, which I think is really cool. I mentioned this in my room tour last week. I've been really intrigued by all these different collections on Switch. Limited Run also just announced that Felix the Cat collection. That's freaking awesome. Just getting as many of these older games in physical form on Switch, I think, is just really cool. But after like 6 months of this game being available, they delisted it from the eShop. Apparently, Limited Run's license ran up already with the you know, IP owner of Bill and Ted. I'm not sure what company that is, but that seems really weird and kind of suspect that they put development time and resources into porting these Bill and Ted games to the Switch and other platforms as well, and then just delisted it less than a year after it released. I don't know. I feel like that there's something weird going on here. Either way, they did a big sale, and I think it was like $20 because every day it was like 10% cheaper. And eventually, I was like, okay, well, I'll get this as well as this other game, which didn't get delisted, at least as far as I'm aware. The Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol. I think this is a PAX limited edition for the Switch here. And then the final Switch game this month that I picked up, you know, everybody's talking about Pal World, and then there's controversies about Pokemon and Game Freak and whether or not Game Freak is a good developer or not. And I was like, there's a Game Freak game I've never played that I'm very interested in checking out. I then realized I also already owned it digitally, apparently. I must have bought it back in like 2019, but I picked up on Amazon. They still had it in stock. I was so very surprised. The Little Town Hero Big Idea Edition. If you remember this game, it was announced, I think, in 2017 or 2018 as just Town, and it was like this new IP from Game Freak, and it looked really good because Pokemon graphics not known for being the best, especially back then, or well, really not now either, I guess, but it looked pretty good for a Game Freak game. And then it came out, and no one cared about it. It got pretty not great reviews, and then no one ever remembered it or talked about it ever again. So this is one I played like 30 minutes of it. You get these like different, you're getting ideas. Those are your attacks. You get these Izits, and then you turn them into Dazits. And I'm talking gibberish here, but trust me, that's how it goes. I only played a little bit of it, so it's something I need to dive deeper into, but I picked up this. It's also an NIS America release, I realized, technically. They published this Big Idea Edition, so if you don't know, I'm going for a full NIS America set. I think not fully committed to that yet, but hey, it was one I didn't have. It's also a Game Freak game, so it makes sense to buy this. And yeah, I have Little Town Hero in the collection now. And that's actually it for Switch, but we do have one PlayStation game before we get to all the DS and 3DS that I bought this month, or last month. And this is actually something I traded with my friend Caleb, and I noticed he had this, and I was like, you're not a fan of that series. And he was like, yeah, we can trade for it if you wanted or something. So I traded him Iron Man VR on PS4 for Yakuza Kiwami Steelbook Edition, because I didn't really care about Iron Man VR. He said he was interested in playing it, and he also, I don't think, really has any interest in Yakuza. I now have, I think I have every Yakuza game physically, except for, of course, Infinite Wealth and the man who erased his name last year. Once again, I've only played 0 and 1, but definitely something I hope to get through at least a couple more this year. That's a big task because these games are very long, especially if you do a lot of the side content. So I would like to at least get halfway through the remastered collection. So I want to get through like 4 this year. I want to get through Kiwami 2, Yakuza 3, and Yakuza 4 this year. I think that's my goal. I should get started on that soon, though, probably. But yeah, really happy to have this. Thank you, Caleb, for trading it to me. Definitely a cool PS4 game to have. Once again, I'm not really going for PS4 games at this point, but this is one I did want to have. Eventually, if these ever come to Switch or Switch 2 or something, I will be buying them there for sure. Now for our modest little stack of DS games. So I don't think I showed any of these last month. Correct me if I'm wrong. I apologize if I go over any redundant information here. Yoshi's Island DS. This is one I played a lot as a kid. I'm pretty sure I beat it back in the day. So I wanted to pick up this again because I had sold it at some points. And yeah, I remember liking this one. I know Yoshi's New Island on 3DS, that gets a lot of hate. I don't remember liking it particularly. Kind of just felt like a nothing game. But this I remember liking a lot. All the different babies. Baby DK, Baby Peach, Baby Wario, the legend. So this is what I'm actually excited to go back to and see if it actually holds up. I realized I had a cartridge-only copy of Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs, so I bought a case off of eBay. So now this is the only Pokemon Ranger game I have complete. I have cases for the first 2. I just need to get cartridges. But yeah, happy to have this now. I think I showed a screenshot of these in my Why I'm Buying DS Games in 2024 video, but I did get them in the mail. Star Fox Command, which I didn't notice has like a kind of a scratch in the plastic there, so probably swap the case on this one. As well as DK Jungle Climber, which I learned yesterday has 2 to 4 player multiplayer. I mean, it even says it right on the back there, which is just, I haven't read the back of this box. I don't know if it explains it there. It says team up with Diddy Kong there. I don't know if that's what the multiplayer is. Very weird again to have multiplayer though. Definitely intrigued to check that out here shortly. And then my first imported original DS game, I bought the original Tomodachi Collection. I wanted to do a short on this as well as play a little bit of it because there is an English patch. So I still need to mess around with that, but this is the original Tomodachi Life. Before they made the one we all know and love on the 3DS, there was this DS game with more, you know, antiquated graphics a little bit here, and it's very interesting seeing Mii's on the DS because there weren't very many games that had that. So yeah, this is really cool. Getting into the 3DS stuff here, so this was a lot of 3 games that I bought. I probably wouldn't have bought these first 2 otherwise at any point in my life, but we got Moshi Monsters Moshling Theme Park. Gotta have that one. As well as Imagine Fashion Life from Ubisoft. Remember when Ubisoft just made a ton of games like this? Those were the days, right? And then more importantly, I got Nintendogs Plus Cats, Golden Retriever, and New Friends. I wanted to have all 3 versions of Nintendogs for 3DS, and that was the last one I needed. It's weird. Did they really just do a Pokemon thing? Like, can you not get a Golden Retriever in the French Bulldog version of Nintendogs Plus Cats? I've never played Nintendogs Plus Cats, but that just seems so egregious to me. I guess they did the same thing on DS a little bit. Like, they had the different versions on DS, but having 3 at launch, man, that's crazy. I also got another first-party 3DS game that I was missing this month. This is a lesser-known one that was an eShop game originally, and then later got a physical release, kind of like Snipper Clips, if you remember that, on the Switch. But this is Freaky Forms Deluxe, Your Creations Alive Now. This is a game I played when I was a kid, and I thought was really dumb. So you just make like these really crappy monsters and you just do these really boring, mundane levels. I was probably too harsh on it. I mean, it was like an $8 eShop game. It's not like some high stakes thing, some high profile release from Nintendo. But I think it's pretty cool that it actually got a physical release. I'm not sure what the deluxe version really added from the original release on the eShop. But yeah, this is a weirder one on 3DS, right? We talk about Kid Icarus Uprising, all these Fire Emblems and Pokemons and Mario games and Kirby games. Freaky Forms Deluxe, you know, we never got a physical copy for any of the Dylan games in America. I think Europe got one, but this is like the only eShop game that Nintendo released physically on the 3DS, so that's got to count for something, right? This is a random one. I noticed that there's not very many copies of it on eBay, and I was like, this is a series I would like to get all of on 3DS, because I played the first game in the series back when I was younger, and yeah, like I said, I noticed this was like just never popping up. European copies are popping up on eBay, but ESRB, like, you can get it when it pops up. It's not like expensive or anything, but it's just a little bit harder to find from what I could tell. And that is Adventure Time, The Secret of the Nameless Kingdom. I believe this was the last one they released on the 3DS. Let me check the date on this. 2014, there might have been another one. I think, was it Finn and Jake Investigations? That might have been after. But these are like 2D kind of action RPGs developed by Little Orbits. I was going to say WayForward. WayForward did the regular show game on 3DS. I played the first one, the Adventure Time, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? They're just horrible names for these games. And as a kid anyway, I thought it was a pretty fun little 2D game. I'm not sure if they actually hold up, but I wanted to pick up this, and I'll eventually go back and get the other ones. The other ones have like those special editions, so I actually had the special edition for the first game, where it was like the Enchiridion from the show, and then the second game, the Explore the Dungeon, because I don't know, that has like a BMO special edition. I don't think this one ever had any sort of special edition, so I figured I would go ahead and pick that up. And then finally, I believe it was Video Games Plus, but it might have been another online website. I can't remember. One of those websites that does like the reprints and stuff. They had both of these Story of Seasons games, which I was missing on 3DS for below retail, I think. So Story of Seasons, the first game, and then Story of Seasons Trio of Towns on the 3DS. Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon are both franchises that, like, I would love to get engrossed in one of those games again. I don't know if I really have the time to do that. You know, I like these cozy games from time to time, when I was younger anyway, but nowadays, it's such a time sink, right? I put, you know, maybe 20 hours or something, probably less than that, into Stardew Valley, and I enjoyed it, but they're just such time sinks. I loved the older Harvest Moon games on like GameCube, Magical Melody, my beloved. There was one on DS, I can't remember the name of it. Sunshine Islands or something. No, not that one. I'll put a picture up. I can't remember what it was. But those older Harvest Moon games I really enjoyed, and then, as we all probably know at this point, that became Story of Seasons. The new Harvest Moon games aren't the original dev team. So, yeah, I've not really heard much about these two, quite frankly. I don't really see people talking about Story of Seasons on the 3DS. But either way, I wanted to get those, so I think I now have... I'm probably missing one of the newer Harvest Moons that were on 3DS. I think there's like a really ugly looking one. I can't remember the name of it, but I have all of the actual Harvest Moon games now. And then as we end off here, I bought a ton of Japanese games for the 3DS. If you are a collector and, you know, you're not really necessarily planning on playing these versions of these games, but you want to get cheap games, Japanese games for 3DS, I've noticed, are just like really cheap. So I picked up 2 lots. That's what the bulk of this is from, but we'll go through this individual games first. I don't think I showed this last month. I think I showed the remake of the first game. I got Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 3. Once again, there is an English patch for this game, I'm pretty sure, which is great. If I ever wanted to play this, I could. Big Dragon Quest Monsters fan now. I played through the new one that came out back in December. Didn't finish it. I still need to go back and do that. I know I can't be leaving these games unfinished, but yeah, I like Dragon Quest Monsters now. I figured I would go back and check out some of these 3DS ones. There is an updated version of this game. I think it's like Dragon Quest Monsters Jokers 3 Professional. I think it's literally just called that. And that one is pricier for the Japanese version. I mean, there's only a Japanese version, but I got the regular version here. There's also a remake of the second Dragon Quest Monsters game, so probably get that. That one's not too expensive. This is a weird one. It was like $11. I remember seeing it at a game store at PAX at some point, I think, and I was like, what is that? And I have no idea. Frankly, I have no idea what this is. AKB48 plus me. It's like some idle game using Mii's. I don't know, man. It kind of piqued my interest. Any game that uses Mii's on 3DS, like, there's not many that have Mii's as a primary focus, especially ones that aren't published by Nintendo. You know, on the Wii, there was a ton of games like that, but for 3DS, most developers weren't really making use of the Mii's, so I thought this game was intriguing. Now, of course, earlier I showed that I got Nintendogs Plus Cats Golden Retriever Edition, but did you know there was a secret 4th edition that never came out in North America, and that is Nintendogs Plus Cats Shiba Inu and Friends. Yeah, I didn't know this existed until very recently, and I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. So I picked this up, as well as the physical release for Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. Kind of good timing here with the new one coming out. By the way, played that demo that they dropped? I've never played the original Mario vs. DK. Kind of into it. Really, really jolly vibes. Just really nice music. The mini Marios are really cute. They talk really fast, which is funny. I've actually played Tipping Stars. It's the only Mario vs. Donkey Kong game I played and beaten all the way through. I actually 100%ed it back in the day on Wii U. I like this game a lot. People trash on these games, but this one in particular I actually thought was pretty good. I like the level creator stuff. I like the online aspects. And yeah, I played it on Wii U mostly, but in Japan it did get a physical release on Wii U and 3DS. Of course, I already have the Wii U version, but I was missing the 3DS one. I think Europe also has one that is just like a download code in the box, but nuts to that. I just got this cartridge from Japan. Also, if you notice, it says Wii U on the front of the box. That's because there was actually like a cross-buy program for this game. PlayStation was doing pretty early in like the PS4 and Vita life cycle. Nintendo, that might be the only time Nintendo ever did it, actually. You know, Virtual Console never got that same love and care. But Tipping Stars, it was kind of interesting to see them try a cross-buy promotion. Of course, they don't need to do that now because the Switch exists. And then we have 2 different lots of games that I bought. Once again, pretty cheap. I think it was like $30 per lot. Just to have these on 3DS from Japan is pretty cool. So the first lot is a bunch of Dragon Ball games. I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, no duh. I started replaying Kakarot a couple days ago on PS5 because they're adding more DLC, and I never played any of the DLC, so enjoying that. But bought a lot of the Dragon Ball Heroes games on 3DS in Japan. I think I actually have all of the 3DS Dragon Ball games now. So we have Heroes X Ultimate Mission, the first Dragon Ball Heroes on 3DS. Also, wow, what a deep cut. I don't remember the name, but that's like the, right, that red guy right there. That's from GT, right? That's like, man, I did not know. That's from like the Lost episodes as they branded it in North America. What a crazy thing to put on the cover of this box. And then Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission 2. So I guess it would go 1, 2, and then X was probably the last one if I had to guess. I believe these are like card games because we got that one on Switch. I actually don't have that. I need to buy that, which is using like card game mechanics or like figure mechanics. I can't remember exactly. I think this is an arcade game in Japan as well. But Dragon Ball Heroes is something that's very foreign to me. Like I'm caught up on like everything else going on with Dragon Ball in the world. Like I'm caught up on the manga. I'm caught up on the anime, of course, which ended several years ago. I'm excited for Daima coming out later this year. And Dragon Ball Heroes, they did that little web anime. Never watched that. Don't really know what's going on. I guess my only real exposure to Dragon Ball Heroes is the stuff that's in Dragon Ball's universe when I played that on Switch and PS4, so I don't think there's like fan patches for this, but maybe I'll play that one on Switch sometime. I'm not sure. Oh, and in that lot, they also had Dragon Ball Fusions, which I have an English copy of, but it would have been more expensive to buy the games individually, so now I have a Japanese copy of that game. And then for the second lot of 3DS games that I bought every, or almost every, Monster Hunter game that released on the 3DS because I learned something very interesting. So these are still wrapped up. I'll open them while I talk here. I learned that for Monster Hunter Double Cross, which is Generations Ultimate in Japan, there is crossplay between the 3DS version and the Switch version. And I don't think you can say that for any other 3DS game. Like, I don't think there's any other game on the 3DS that can connect to the Switch in that way. You know, you think back to, you know, there was some Wii U and 3DS integration. Of course, I just mentioned the cross-buy for Mario vs. Donkey Kong. But even like the Smash 3DS controller that you could buy for $1 on the 3DS eShop and use it on Smash Wii U. There were a couple different things there. But actual cross-play, I mean, that was kind of like a new thing in 2017 when Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate came out on Switch. So to have that for 3DS and Switch is just very interesting. I'm excited to check that out. And I wanted to make sure I tried out this very niche 3DS and Switch connectivity before the servers go down in early April, so I bought this big lot that has all of them. Didn't really need to get all of the Monster Hunter games on 3DS, and I'm saying all of them. I think there's like some Palico spinoffs or something, but we have Monster Hunter 3G Tri. This is just 3 Ultimates. Monster Hunter 4, Monster Hunter 4G, which is the one that we got, which I think the 4G versions always just add like more monsters in the new G rank, which of course for all the North American versions we always just had all that content there. Then Monster Hunter Cross, as well as Monster Hunter Double Cross here, which is the main one that I wanted to get because, like I said, it does have that crossplay connectivity. Also, just very weird. These are the only 3DS games I have now that are in black cases. I'm not sure why they did that for these in particular, because are they rated more maturely? I guess they are. It's Sero C. I'm not sure what the Sero rating system is quite. I'm not quite sure how that's organized, but yeah, I wanted to do a short on that or something, or check it out at least, because I think that's such a weird niche thing that's about to be lost when the servers go down, because, you know, there's not going to really be a way to replicate that with like pre-Tendo servers. I can't imagine, right? So yeah, bought all these Japanese Monster Hunter games just to do that short, so stay tuned for that in the coming weeks, because that's just so funny to me, man. And that is going to do it for games, but I do have a couple of other smaller things to show you real quick before we leave. On the same day that Another Code Recollection came out, they released the Noah and Mio Amiibo, so of course I had to pick up this. I did an unboxing. I bought 2 of these because I am a huge Xenoblade fan. I wanted to have one to keep sealed and one to put on the shelf and display loose. Also very cool, these are our first like Xenoblade series Amiibo, so they actually have their unique bases down there with the X. And then for a while there, I'm not sure if you noticed, I was posting shorts almost every day. They weren't really doing that well, so I'm kind of reevaluating my short strategy. But in that, while planning a bunch of them in advance, I was like, what's something that would be very easy to do for shorts that people seem to like? Card openings. People like trading card packs. So I went on eBay, and there's a seller just selling these Nintendogs trading cards for very cheap. I don't think I showed these last month. I've had these for a while now. I didn't even know these existed, but yeah, there's like Nintendogs trading cards that are officially licensed from Nintendo, so I have a fat stack of these now. These were very cheap. And then I also saw this for like 10 bucks on eBay. I know they go for way more than that. I sniped it immediately. A sealed pack of the Kid Icarus Uprising trading cards, or the AR cards, sorry. If you aren't aware, Kid Icarus Uprising had a series of like 400 AR cards that you can scan into the game and get different weapons and stuff and just view the models, I think. Very unique. That's definitely like a holy grail for me, is just having all of the Kid Icarus Uprising AR cards. That will never happen because they are very expensive. I think Kit and Krista, you know, the former Nintendo Minute employees, I think they showed there's like a box that was like a giveaway promo that's like just like exclusive collector's edition that has all of the cards in it with like an exclusive binder or something. It's very, very limited, very cool. You cannot find it on eBay. Last I checked, there was one on eBay for like $100,000. So that's how bad we're talking. So yeah, I'll be happy with my one sealed pack. Maybe I'll open this at some point in a short or something. But with that said, that is going to do it for this month's pickups video. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys have added to your collections, and let me know what you think of my pickups. Definitely a more tame month for me, even though I'm looking at my recording time. It's 35 minutes. Guess I talked a little bit more in depth on each game, but hey, I saw comments last month when I mentioned I was going to do that. People said they want to see that, so hey. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing for more collecting videos each and every Sunday. If you notice, that's what I'm doing. Sunday is for collection videos. The rest of the week is for other Nintendo stuff, so that's kind of the pattern I'm going on here, the method to the madness of my upload schedule. And of course, follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Join the Discord, that is linked down below. We have like a collection chat, so you can post your new pickups there. And until next time, folks, peace!